Imagine if someone told you that the secret to wealth, success, and fulfillment wasn't locked in a bank vault or taught at Ivy League schools, but buried deep within your own mind. That's exactly what Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill sets out to prove. First published in 1937, this isn't just another book about getting rich. It's a timeless manual for unlocking the potential of your thoughts to shape your destiny. Based on 2 decades of interviews with some of the most successful men of the early 20th century, like Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and Thomas Edison, Hill distills what separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who merely dream of it. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to attract opportunity and abundance, while others struggle endlessly, Hill's answer is clear. It all starts with the way you think. The foundation of Hill's philosophy is the idea that thoughts become things. This isn't wishful thinking or vague optimism. Hill means that every great achievement begins as an idea, a clear, definite purpose that's pursued with unwavering belief. He begins with the concept of desire as the starting point of all success. But this isn't just about wanting something casually. Hill urges you to cultivate a burning desire, one so vivid and intense that it becomes an obsession. He shares the story of Edwin C. Barnes, who dreamed of becoming a business partner with Thomas Edison. Barnes had no money, no connections, and no plan other than a fierce, specific desire. Yet that desire fueled action, and action brought opportunity. Years later, Barnes became exactly what he had envisioned, Edison's partner in marketing one of his inventions. Hill's point is simple but powerful. When your desire is clear and burning, you begin to notice paths you never saw before. Closely tied to desire is faith, not necessarily in a religious sense, but as a deep emotional belief in your own vision. Hill explains that faith is the glue that binds thoughts to action and turns dreams into results. He doesn't suggest that belief alone is enough, but he insists that without it, you're doomed to falter. One of his most practical suggestions is the use of affirmations, repeating positive, specific statements daily until they sink into your subconscious. While that might sound overly simplistic, Hill backs it with psychology. Repetition and emotion can rewire the mind's automatic thought patterns, which in turn influence behavior. If your self-talk is defeatist, your results will be too. But if your thoughts are soaked in belief, your actions will reflect confidence and persistence. Persistence itself is another cornerstone of Hill's message. Over and over, he emphasizes that those who succeed aren't the ones with the most talent or luck, but the ones who refuse to quit. He tells the famous story of R.U. Darby, who gave up on a gold mine just 3 feet away from a massive vein of gold, only to have someone else strike it rich right after. Hill uses this story to hammer home the idea that most people stop just before success arrives. When you're tired, discouraged, or scared, that's often the moment when persistence matters most. He doesn't romanticize hardship, but he does reframe it as a test, a filter that separates those who really want it from those who kind of do. Another compelling concept in the book is autosuggestion, which is Hill's term for the process of consciously influencing your subconscious. He describes how most people let their environment, fears, or past failures shape their thinking without question. But what if you could reverse that? What if you could plant ideas, beliefs and goals in your subconscious deliberately, like seeds in a garden, and nurture them until they grow into real outcomes. That's the idea behind autosuggestion. Hill instructs readers to write down their definite chief aim in life, exactly what they want, by when, and what they're willing to give in return, and read it aloud twice daily. The goal is to program your mind with clarity and focus, replacing doubt and distraction with purposeful direction. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, please do check out my other valuable content. And please consider leaving a like. It would mean so much to me. Goodbye for now. Hill also spends time exploring the role of specialized knowledge. Not just any knowledge, but focused, relevant knowledge applied with intent. He argues that intelligence alone doesn't create success. It's how you use it. Plenty of educated people remain poor because they fail to apply what they know in practical, income-generating ways. Hill recommends surrounding yourself with experts and constantly learning, but always with a goal in mind. His point is that you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough to take the next step and be resourceful about the rest. A particularly forward-thinking section of the book is Hill's discussion on imagination. Long before creativity became a buzzword, Hill argued that imagination is one of the most powerful forces available to us. Every innovation, invention, and business empire started as a figment of someone's imagination. But Hill distinguishes between two types of imagination: synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination rearranges existing ideas into new combinations. Creative imagination taps into something deeper, intuitive, almost mysterious, what some might call inspiration. Hill believes both are crucial, and the best ideas often arise when a mind has been primed with intense desire and focused thinking. One of the more controversial but fascinating aspects of Hill's philosophy is his emphasis on the sixth sense. He describes it as a kind of intuitive guidance system that emerges after the other principles have been mastered. It's the gut feeling, the flash of insight, the inner voice that seems to whisper the right move at just the right time. While Hill admits this is harder to explain or measure, he insists it's real and available to those who practice the earlier disciplines of thought control, belief, persistence, and imagination. It's his way of acknowledging that success is not purely mechanical. It also involves timing, alignment, and sometimes what feels like magic. Hill also dives into the topic of fear, what he calls the most persistent obstacle to success. He outlines 6 basic fears: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. These fears, he argues, live in the subconscious and silently sabotage progress unless confronted. He encourages readers to identify their dominant fear and then starve it by acting in spite of it, by feeding the mind with faith and positive suggestion, and by surrounding themselves with people who reinforce courage instead of doubt. That leads to another of Hill's crucial insights: the power of the mastermind group. Hill saw that no one succeeds alone, and that synergy, when 2 or more minds align in harmony, can create an exponential increase in power and insight. He credits much of the success of great men like Edison and Ford to their ability to surround themselves with brilliant, focused collaborators. A mastermind isn't just a team. It's a strategic alliance of people who believe in each other's goals and push each other toward them. Hill suggests that finding or forming such a group is one of the most strategic decisions anyone can make. What makes Think and Grow Rich enduring isn't just its insights. It's the way Hill invites the reader to take full responsibility for their future. He doesn't promise an easy path or instant riches. Instead, he offers a framework that empowers you to reshape your thinking, which in turn reshapes your reality. His message is at once spiritual and practical. If you can control your thoughts, align them with purpose, back them with belief, and persist through fear and failure, you can literally think your way to success. Even today, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, and leaders across industries continue to credit Think and Grow Rich as a turning point in their journey. It doesn't matter if you're starting with nothing, facing rejection, or unsure of your next move. What matters is whether you're willing to take control of your mind, and through that, your future. Hill's ultimate promise is this: what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And once you truly grasp that, you'll never see your thoughts or your potential the same way again.